part 2 of how to make and play a mage. I'm sorry for the quality being crappier, but this is on my PS3 version. This isn't on Fraps, so the quality is going to be less than it usually is because I'm having to film a TV screen with a webcam. It's mounted on a music stand right now. I'm dead serious. But anyways, let's get started. First thing I'm going to explain about, which I didn't explain in part 1, is the attributes. The two main attributes you want are going to be intelligence and willpower. You're obviously going to want intelligence because it affects your total magicka, and you're going to want willpower because it affects how quickly your magicka regenerates. And magicka is what we use to cast spells, children, and we're a mage, so we're going to want our magicka regenerating really good, and we're going to want our maximum magicka level really high. It also governs the skills of conjuration and mysticism and alchemy. And willpower governs the skills of destruction, alteration, and restoration. It also affects how much fatigue you have, but fatigue is more important for melee characters and archers. It's a lot less important for mages. In fact, it doesn't really affect us at all. So fatigue, it doesn't matter. But we're gonna want willpower anyway because of how it affects magicka and the skills that it governs. Now alchemy is affected by intelligence, but in my personal opinion, you can leave comments below if you disagree. I think that alchemy is the least useful for mages, and the reason why is because archers are always having to make potions for their enemies. Because not potions, poisons for their enemies. Because poisons with archers is awesome because they can just release a poison that's let's say it causes 10 damage over 10 seconds. So it's releasing 1 damage per second. And so that archer can just hit him with a poison and then run away, while the enemy is chasing him, slowly being eaten away. So the archer can just keep on releasing a poison and then running away until the enemy dies. And so archers can be really effective with that. Someone leave a comment below. I don't think that stealth shots are affected by poison damage. I'm pretty sure that stealth shots are only affected by physical damage, by the actual physical damage of your arrow. That's how much the stealth shots are increased by. I'm not positive on that. Someone leave in the comments below exactly what the deal is with that. Alchemy is also more useful for melee characters over mages because melee characters are being hit a lot and they have a lot of health. So health potions are going to be really important for a melee character because they're getting hit the most out of all the characters because they're up in front meleeing the enemy. And they also have a lot of health and that they're losing. Yes, they have armor, but they need those really strong health potions to heal up all that health. People could argue that the mages need alchemy because of their magical levels, but I disagree because there are a lot. There's another way to regain your magicka, and that's by casting an invisibility spell and just waiting for your magicka to regenerate. So it's not as important. Alchemy really is not important for mages. It's the most important for archers, and then second most important for melee characters. But in my opinion, it doesn't really help mages a whole lot. I used some magicka potions, but that's just because I had so many extras lying around that I just used them all up. We're going to be putting it into our major skills anyway, just because it's affected by intelligence. And since we have such a high intelligence level, we might as well just put it in our major skills so we get because it's going to be a lot stronger. Let's move on to our major skills. Alteration, obviously, we're going to want all of these, because these are all the spell trees. These are all the spell trees. Some guys say not to have illusion, but illusion is my favorite spell tree, and I think that illusion is the third most useful spell tree after destruction, restoration, and then illusion. I think that it's the third most useful spell tree, and it's my personal favorite. It's not the most important, but it's my personal favorite. I love to paralyze things and go invisible. So definitely have illusion. I've read in my manual, not in my manual, in my strategy guide, and it's not mandatory, but to me it's definitely mandatory over these other things. So definitely go for illusion. Conjuration is good for summoning enemies as like a distraction. I've gotten out of a lot of sticky situations when I was first starting to play my mage by conjuring an enemy, not so much to cause damage as to distract the enemy from me, because I wanted to regain some health. I wanted to get some magicka back so I could heal myself, or I wanted to get some magicka back so I could cast another spell, but I was always having to heal myself because I was getting attacked and I couldn't get the enemy off me. So I would just summon an enemy and let the enemy sort of tank the enemy for me, and so I could so it could release some of the pressure off my character. Alteration is good because the shield is really useful if you're fighting a really strong melee character that does a lot of damage, and you're not good with dodging. And since you're a mage, you have low health. Casting a magical shield on you to protect from physical attacks is going to be useful.
Now, the way you should interpret physical damage, it means all damage that is not magical. So getting burned by fire isn't physical damage, apparently, and getting electrocuted isn't physical damage, and getting frostbitten isn't physical damage, apparently, in this game, because physical damage means it's only going to protect you from swords, and it's only going to protect you from arrow. And I mean, not just swords, I mean like axes and all other melee weapons and arrows. So the alteration shield will only protect you from those type of things. So if an arrow has magical damage on it, or if a sword is magically enchanted with fire and it hits you, your shield isn't going to do anything.
Mysticism is good for dispelling magic. That's what I find it most useful for. If I have a spell that I want to get that I don't want to have on me, I'll dispel it. Now, the absorb and reflect effect, that reflect effect can only reflect spells. That won't reflect melee physical damage. Excuse me. That'll only reflect spells, and it costs a lot of magicka. Even with my ridiculous magicka level, it still costs a lot of magicka to keep it on me for a good period of time. So it's pretty useless. And besides, I already have 100 reflect spell because this is a glitched character. So reflect is pretty useless for pretty much the most part. You might get into a part where there's a really strong magic user like a lich, and you want to put it on you, or if you're fighting like Mank or Cameron. I used reflect spell in Mank or Cameron, the Mank or Cameron fight, when I was fighting the follower of Dagon. And it won.